Osso Buco. What do you think of when you hear that word? Osso Buco. Braised beef shanks. I am very fortunate to live in Arizona, about 10 miles from the Mexico border, where there are some of the best Mexican butcher shops around. And I have here today 4 beautiful center cut beef shanks. So we're going to do some osso buco, which is a braised beef shank stew. And we're going to do all of that in our Ninja Foodi. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is to trim this meat up and get it into basically bite-sized pieces. Once I cut the pieces, I'll be putting them directly into the Ninja Foodi pot, right into the bottom. There's nothing in the pot right now. It's a beautiful piece of meat. If we go in with the grain, except for a little bit of cartilage there, we can pretty much pull this meat apart. And that is a perfect size for this stew-like osso buco that we're going to do. So it's going right into the foodie pot. And we're just going to continue cutting around this bone. And we may actually break out our scissors here to help us out. Don't be afraid to use kitchen scissors in your kitchen, guys. Quite helpful at times. Especially when you need to cut through some fat and stuff. Beautiful. And I'll trim just a little of that off, and I'm going to leave quite a bit of that fat on there. I want that flavor. Let's see how much more use we can get out of these scissors. Okay, now that's all fat on that side. Take that fat off. Trim it up a little bit. And anyway, you get the idea. So we're going to work on all of these now and get them finished up. Cut into bite-sized pieces and put into the foodie pot.
A few minutes later.
I'm using the one pot Ninja Foodi, so I have a high level of 1 through 5. I'm going to cut mine down to 3. Sear saute. Start it up. While our beef shanks are getting browned up on the outside, we're going to go and slice up a half of a white onion and cut up a few carrots. Let's go do that. I have a really big onion here. I'm going to use a little bit less than half of this onion. So let's go out here. And we're going to kind of stick with the traditional method the best we can, which means onion rings. Instead of diced or chopped or whatever, we're going to make onion rings here. Again, the best we can. There's a disclaimer that, right? The best we can. Let's make some rings, guys. All right, well, my onion is apparently not going to cooperate for rings. Split it this way. There we go. And we'll take this little center piece that fell out and kind of get a few rings out of that too if we can. We have a really long cook on this. Don't worry about the onions and the size. These are all just going to cook down and hopefully retain some of their shape. Let's get some carrots out too. If you're using whole carrots, 2 whole carrots will probably be enough. I have some already peeled and cut baby carrots that I caught on sale. So we're just going to use some of these, approximately 2 carrots worth. And I have to tell you, I'm probably going to use a little more than that because we love carrots in our stew. And we're just going to cut them down a little bit, about that size. Once the beef shanks get browned on the outside, we do not want to cook these right now. We're simply browning. Once they get brown on the outside, we're actually going to remove them. So make sure you have a platter and a slotted spoon available because we want to cook this stuff and the garlic and all the other stuff separately. Brown it up nicely. We don't want to cook the inside very much, and we definitely don't want to burn it. So sometimes it's better to just do a little slower. Sometimes slow is best. As soon as you got your beef shanks good and browned up, just transfer those over to a bowl. And in the same juice, don't drain anything. Go ahead and add your onions and carrots. And we're going to saute these up until the onions and carrots are just slightly tender. So you got your onions and your carrots in the pot. And now you need to add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. Don't skip this step, guys. Now, if you don't like garlic, maybe you can hold it back to, I'm just at the end of mine, so I'm just dumping the whole jar in. But if you don't like garlic, you can hold it back to maybe 1 tablespoon. But critical part of this dish. And of course, stir it up, and let's get it sauteing. It'll take just a minute. And then we'll just continue to stir. Look at that. I couldn't do that if I tried. All right, anyway. Oh my gosh, the smells here. Quite amazing. Let's let that simmer. I'm going to go ahead and move the temperature up now to high 4. There we go. All right, in a few minutes, we're going to deglaze this pan once we get these to where we want it. And you're going to need some white wine for that. All right, this is a pretty inexpensive white wine, but it does have a cork, if that counts for anything. So get yourself a half a cup of some white wine. And just drink the rest, because that's all we're going to need for this recipe. And white wine obviously will go well with this meal. So you can have yourself a glass with your Osso Buco. And I also bought I got a French baguette, crusty baguette that I'm going to serve with my beef shanks. So we still got a few minutes to go on these onions. So what we're after here is to evaporate a large portion of that juice, and then we're going to deglaze the bottom of the pan with the white wine. That's the reason I raised the temperature. Pretty good sizzle going on there. This is also a good time to add your salt and pepper, but I think you know what I'm going to use. Why use salt and pepper when you can use this? Season to taste. And if you guys are using this Himalayan, you know it doesn't take a whole lot to get a whole lot of flavor. So a little goes a long way. Okay, as our liquid evaporates, be careful, keep stirring. It's okay. Now in this Ninja Foodi, it's not really going to burn. It could get a little dark on us. It's not going to necessarily burn because of ceramic pot there. All right, the liquid is just about gone. A couple more seconds, it will be gone. And it's thickened up very nicely. Onions did their thing. And it's time to keep that temperature high and start hit it with that wine. This is wine I'm pouring in, half a cup of white wine. And we're just going to hit that and keep letting it evaporate. Oh yeah, here comes the smells. So we're going to evaporate off the wine, the liquid on the bottom. Basically, we'll also be evaporating the alcohol content as well. So So we're just looking for that flavor. Just a little bit at a time, guys. A little bit at a time. Stir it up, let it evaporate, etc., etc. Rinse, repeat. As with most things we cook, the longer it takes, the more the flavors get infused and the better it is. So even though we are in a Ninja Foodi, which speeds the process, some things we just want to go slow with, like this. There, we got a little bit more wine. Looks like we got enough to do that one more time. We'll just keep evaporating, imparting all of those flavors. And one final time. All right, once we get all this evaporated out, we're going to add a half a cup of beef stock. Maybe a little more, because we have quite a bit of beef shanks here. We want to make sure we have enough liquid for the beef shanks, but we're going to start with a half a cup. And once we get this down, we'll add our beef shanks back in, get the beef broth on top, and then we're going to finish it up. Final method, which is pressure cook. We're going to infuse those flavors under pressure for about 20 minutes, maybe 25. There we go, most of the liquid is out now. Give that a couple more minutes. And I do have the timer running on the Foodi, so this is approximately 8.5 minutes for the saute of the vegetables and the deglaze. So just factor in about 10 minutes for that. All right, my friends, that is looking mighty good, mighty good. It's time to go ahead and get those shanks back into the Foodi. Leave the temperature up for a minute. Let's go ahead and combine. And add your beef broth. I'm starting with a half a cup and I will reevaluate. Now, if I were simmering this in like a Dutch oven or something, I would want to cover this, but we are going to pressure cook, so we don't need to cover, we just need enough liquid to make that happen. And that's plenty right there. Oh yeah. I cannot wait to eat this. I'm just going to hand hold the camera for a second for you. Lid down. Stop that process. Bring your slider over to pressure. The old Ninja Foodi can do this just as well. Of course, in this step, you would, in the old version, you would just switch lids. You would bring the other pressure lid over. Throw it on pressure, leave it on the default of high. Let's go with 25 minutes. And natural pressure release, undetermined at this time. With a 25-minute pressure, I might only give it a 5 natural, give it a total of 30 minutes. Make sure that valve is turned now that we're doing pressure and not steam and bake and all that. Steam and bake comes out the back. Pressure still uses this, so make sure it's turned to the seal position, and we'll see you guys back here in about 25-30 minutes. Hey guys, I almost forgot to tell you, before you start your pressure cook, you need to add 1 can, 14.5 ounce of diced tomato, and stir that in, and then start your pressure cook. All right, now do your pressure cook. Well, there we have it, everybody. Osso Buco, Ninja Foodi, 1 lid, Smartlid. Super tender, center cut beef shanks, onion, garlic, tomato, and carrot. A little salt and pepper. I got a little French baguette here on the side to go with it. And let's go ahead and take ourselves a taste and see how we did. Pretty hot. Oh my goodness. the beef shank, it just fell apart. It just melted. That was so good. Tiny little hint of the white wine. All the other flavors combined. Still too hot to eat. I shouldn't be eating it, but here we go. Too good not to eat. Oh my goodness. That was good. All right, everybody, that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications. Leave me some comments. Click the like button. And we'll see you real soon on the next Ninja Foodi video.